As we approach the 2024 election, I'd like to ask all of you a question. Which presidential candidate do you believe is most capable of accomplishing world peace? Trump, Biden, or RFK Jr.? As a father, my deepest desire is to see my children grow up in a world that is marked by peace, a world where the headlines speak more often about breakthroughs in cooperation than of conflicts. The 2024 presidential election, that carries a weight of significance, especially for parents like me who see their children's futures reflected in the policies and the attitudes of those vying for the highest office in the land. The quest for world peace isn't just about avoiding wars, it's about building a global environment where mutual respect, cooperation, and understanding thrive over the divisiveness and the hostility that we're seeing today. This election, perhaps more than all of those before, seems pivotal in steering the course of our world towards such a future. There are so many causes of conflict that exist in the world today, and I believe it's going to take a full understanding of where these conflicts are rooted for us to make serious change. For instance, let's talk about education and understanding. A primary aspect of my hope lies in education. The right leader must view education not just as a domestic priority, but as a global tool for peace. Educating our youth about global cultures, the interconnectivity of nations, and the importance of diplomacy can plant seeds of peace that might flower in future generations. Next president must support educational initiatives that broaden young people's minds, not just to be competitive in the marketplace, but to be empathetic and informed global citizens. Also, we have to take into consideration the environment. It's another significant component. The health of our planet is undeniably linked to global peace. Resource scarcity, that can lead to conflicts, while a stable environment can foster a cooperative relationship throughout the world. I want a president who prioritizes global environmental initiatives, who sees the U.S. as an integral player in a nationwide, worldwide team, combating climate change, pollution, and biodiversity loss. It's essential that our leader works with international counterparts to craft policies that benefit not just the U.S., but the global community. This is exactly what could bring the world together, and we need to be open to it. Also, the elephant in the room is economic stability. Economic policies, they play probably the most crucial role in world peace. A world in economic turmoil is a breeding ground for conflict, whereas stable economies, well, they generally promote stable societies. The candidate that I support will have to understand that protectionist policies might offer short-term domestic benefits, but they can also lead to long-term global instability. There has to be a balance. I would have to look for a leader who promotes fair trade, supports sustainable development, and understands the complex interdependence of the global economy. We can't just shut down here, folks. We have to be able to reach out and cooperate on an economic scale. Also, diplomacy. I know, it's something that feels like we haven't had much of lately, which is surprising. We are supposed to be the diplomatic leaders of the world, but it seems like we're unwilling to listen. It's perhaps the most direct link that the president has to the world and the biggest factor in world peace as we approach international conflicts, that is. The ideal candidate, in my view, would be somebody who prioritizes diplomacy over warfare, who uses America's considerable influence to mediate and resolve conflicts rather than to inflame them. This candidate would not shy away from military action if absolutely necessary, but would also view that as a last resort after all other avenues have been exhausted. I feel like we're too quick to flex our muscle. We're too quick to jump into the fray, and sometimes we're not necessarily making things better. Also, let's consider social justice and human rights. I mean, it's a worldwide problem, and it must be a pillar of our policies here in the United States. Peace is not just the absence of war, but also the presence of justice. As such, I would love to see a leader who advocates for the oppressed and works tirelessly to spread equality and justice throughout the world. We must understand as a nation that peace built on the suffering of others is neither true peace nor is it sustainable. Innovation and technology can also be harnessed for peace. We're about to enter an era where technology, well, it's going to proceed at a breakneck pace, faster than anything we've ever seen in human history. The right presidential candidate would recognize and promote technology's role in solving global issues like poverty, healthcare, and education by leading initiatives that share advancements and foster global cooperation in tech. The U.S. can pave a path to a more interconnected and peaceful world. We don't just need to use technology for defense. We don't just need to use technology for our military might. We need to use it to make the world more equitable, more fair, healthier, and more prosperous. And if we do that, that will go a long way towards promoting peace. And as a father, my responsibility extends beyond just hoping for these qualities in a leader. It involves actively engaging in dialogues, voting with a global perspective, and teaching my children the value of empathy, respect, and cooperation. We can't just stand alone on top of a mountaintop. We must reach out. We must gather other nations around us, and we must all embrace a peaceful future. I must show my children through my actions that striving for peace is everyone's duty, and that starts with how we treat our neighbors, both near and far. We need to fix the problems that we have here in the United States of America. We need to find a way to bring our nation back together where all of the anger that goes between the left and the right and all of the decisions and policy making is built upon that anger. We need to find a way out of that. And that is the only way that we can move forward with worldwide peace, is by building a peaceful home here. As the 2024 presidential election approaches, I reflect on these issues deeply, not just as a citizen, but as a parent with a responsibility towards future generations. The world that my children will inherit is shaped by the decisions that are made today. They're shaped by the policies of candidates who could potentially win the presidency in 2024. Therefore, I must look for a leader whose vision of America is not one of insulation and strife, but of openness and cooperation. A leader who not only preaches world peace, but also actively lays the groundwork for it. You can't just go on X. You can't just go on social media and say that you want peace. You need to fight for it every single day as the President of the United States. And there are candidates out there right now who I don't think will do it. So when I step into the voting booth in November, I will be making a decision for a person who's willing to lay the groundwork to create global counterparts who can thrive together in harmony and mutual prosperity. I need this for my family. I don't want any more wars. I want peace to be reality, and I think we can do it. I believe in it. But first, we must make a choice.